We can express a fraction in three basic ways: as a common fraction, such as 1/2, as a fraction in decimal form, such as 0.5, and as a percentage, such as 50%. Let's review common fractions. Common fractions have the form a over b, where a is called the numerator and b is called the denominator. Note that a fraction represents division. A over b means a divided by b. You can see why by thinking back to the definition of fractions. If we take a pie and divide it into 3 pieces, then each piece is 1 divided by 3, or 1/3 of the pie. We need a few more simple ideas to work with fractions easily. First, we can write ordinary integers as fractions with a denominator of 1. For example, we can write 3 as 3 over 1 because any number divided by 1 is itself. And we can write -4 as -4 over 1. This can help us with the important idea of reciprocals. Two numbers are reciprocals if their product is 1. For example, 2 and 1/2 are reciprocals because 2 times 1/2 is equal to 1. And 4/3 and 3/4 are reciprocals because 4/3 times 3/4 equals 1. We can find the reciprocal of any fraction by inverting it. For an integer a, we first write it as a over 1 to find that its reciprocal is 1 over a. A cannot be 0 since we cannot divide by 0. More generally, the reciprocal of a over b is b over a, as long as neither a nor b are 0. We now turn to comparisons. If we want to compare fractions, they must have the same or a common denominator. For example, to compare the fractions 1/2 and 1/3, we recognize that 1/2 is the same as 3/6 and 1/3 is the same as 2/6. Now we can see clearly that 1/2 is larger than 1/3 by 1/6. A common denominator can be any multiple of both denominators, but one foolproof way to find the common denominator is by multiplying the individual denominators together. In this case, multiplying 2 times 3 gives the common denominator of 6. Note that when we convert a fraction to a new denominator, we must multiply the top and bottom by the same thing. For our top fraction, we multiplied the 2 in the denominator by 3 to make the common denominator of 6, so we must also multiply the numerator by 3. For the fraction 1/3, we multiplied the 3 in the denominator by 2 to make the common denominator of 6, so we also multiplied the numerator by 2. Here is a summary of the ideas that we've covered.